Good morning and welcome to The Village Who. My name is Paul Martino and I'm one of the co-founders of Village MD, and I'm thrilled to be here this morning. The Village Who is intended to help our team get to know each other as well as some of our patients. Come on in and take a listen. We're coming to you this morning from Westchester County, New York, and I'm here this morning with Becky Levy, the General Counsel for the entire company.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's a massive set of responsibilities, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, how about a little bit about you? Where are you from? School, law school? Tell us a little about that.
So I was born in Michigan, and I lived in Michigan until I was 12, and then I lived in Champaign, Illinois for a couple of years. I went to University of Massachusetts for college.
For undergrad?
Yep.
Studied?
I actually started as a biology major and ended as a psychology and political science double major. Yes.
And then how about law school?
I went to Seton Hall in New Jersey.
Yeah. What motivated you to want to be an attorney?
Yeah. So, it's really interesting. I went to college as a biology major, very interested in medicine, and I worked one summer at a hospital in the social work department. And they had an issue, it was a bioethics issue, and they called the lawyer. And I went to the meeting, I was able to go, and I realized that the lawyer sat in the room and was not only had empathy, but also got to make a lot of decisions, and I liked that.
Yeah.
And actually the lawyer was guiding the physicians in the room, and so I thought, wow, I didn't even know this was a career. I'm interested in it.
And so after you got out of law school, what happened then? Where'd you go?
Yeah, so I did a concentration in health law at Seton Hall, so I went there knowing I wanted to be a healthcare attorney. And I worked at a law firm for about 2.5 years and then moved to a second law firm. And then about 11 years ago, I joined Summit.
What attracted you?
I came down to interview and I met with Karen Graham, who's still with us, and a few other people. And there was about 150 providers, which felt really big at the time, which now I think is very cute, that I thought that was so big.
Right.
I had a 1 and a 3-year-old, and it added an hour commute, but I loved it. The second I walked in, I loved it.
You knew it was for you?
I interviewed on a Friday, and I remember leaving, and that weekend I was like almost sick how bad I wanted the job. I just loved it.
So fast forward 11 years, you're now the general counsel for one of the largest medical provider groups in the country. Maybe the largest independent medical provider groups in the country. That's a significant responsibility. How do you deal with it?
I laugh. I have a great team. I've had a team at Summit that I've worked with for a long time, and I've also, a wonderful Village team that I've inherited, and getting to know that group. But I think making connections and always making decisions using integrity.
Most challenging part of the job?
It can be stressful. There's a lot of nights where I wake up at 2 in the morning and think about things that are going on. Just making sure that we're always compliant and staying out of trouble. The history of our company is that compliance is really a high priority. If you look at our website or any of the things that we do, it's pretty prominently featured. Go back a little bit. You said that you had, when you started at Summit, you had a 1-year-old and 3-year-old. So fast forward, what's going on now? Yes, so I have a son who's a freshman in high school and thinks he wants to be a doctor, so I feel like something rubbed off. My kids actually thought I was a doctor until a few years ago because I work at Summit. And then my daughter is in 7th grade.
What do you do for fun?
We love to travel when we can.
And so I know about your recent trip.
Yes.
Tell us about that. You were in?
We went to Jerusalem, we went to Tel Aviv, and we did some other smaller towns.
Since you like to travel, anybody anywhere in the world, alive or deceased, who would you get to have dinner with them? Who would you have dinner with and where?
Ooh, where? So I am a foodie. I like to eat, even casual or fine dining. So I would definitely go to some Michelin star restaurant that I haven't been to.
And with whom?
One of the people I'd really like to meet is, it sounds, Beverly Cleary. She's an author. She actually I think she passed away about a year ago at the age of 105. But she wrote kids' books, the Ramona Quimby series, which I don't know if you have.
No.
Daughters, but they were the first books that I really read on my own as a child, and I love to read. At any time, I always have 2 or 3 books that I'm kind of in the middle of.
What are you in right now?
So I'm reading, I always read a nonfiction book and a fiction book. So nonfiction, I'm reading this book called Queen Bees and Wannabes about raising middle school aged girls.
Oh, God.
Which is I highly recommend it. And I'm also reading The Most Fun We Ever Had, which is just a kind of a novel about a family and family dynamics.
Becky, you've been great with your time this morning. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about you. How'd you get here? And tell me your story.
All right. So I used to work at an office prior to for 17 years, and the practice closed. And one of the providers that worked with me started working with Village, and he called me and he was like, hey, I'm working for this awesome company. You need to come over because they are amazing. And I applied, and here I am.
How long ago was that?
That was December of 21.
How's it been?
It's been amazing. You know, and I, when we're conversing with people, I say it sounds cliche, but it literally takes a village.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
So tell me about patients. Like, what do you, like, your interaction with them, their expectations, how does that work?
With Village in general, it's a different experience because when the patients come, first of all, they're blown away by the size of the clinic because they're thinking that when they come in Walgreens, it's going to be like a room or so.
So before they walk in, they don't really know that.
Yeah, they don't. It's like when they walk in, they're super amazed.
Yeah.
Like even the waiting room, they're like, oh, okay, this is nice. But then when you open the door and they come back, they're like, whoa, this is seriously a full doctor's office.
Yeah.
And they love the fact that the rooms are like fully equipped. So there's like not multiple stops that you have to make to be treated.
Yeah. Do you interact with the pharmacy and the pharmacist?
Okay, so we have this, Walgreens and Village Medical, we have this collaborative thing that we do. We call it MedSync.
Yeah.
The patients are syncing their medication refills with the appointments.
Yeah.
So when the patients come to the office to be seen, they pick up their refills, they leave. They don't have to come back for another 90 days or 60 days, depending on when their appointments are, because their refills coincide with the appointment time.
So better patient care.
Yes.
More
compliance
attentive patient
with the medication.
Care. Exactly.
Yes, and it's called Save a Trip with Walgreens and together. And we have potlucks once a month. We all get together and we eat together. We make our best homemade dishes, the pharmacy and Village Medical at our clinics, and we get together, we converse about it. We have meetings bi-weekly to discuss, if there's any issues with patients or anything. So we have a very, very, very great relationship with one another.
Did this happen at your prior company? Did this type of integration?
No, it did not.
Yeah.
It's just whenever the patients get the prescriptions, they leave. You don't know what's happening. When they come back, you're like, hey, are you still taking that medication? They're like, oh, I still have some left. Well, we gave you a 30-day prescription and you're coming back in 90 days. How do you still have those 30 days worth of medication?
Right. It didn't add up, right?
It didn't add up. But now it's more so we're on it. The patients, we educate them about it when they're here. And they love it.
Yeah.
They simply, because, patients love the fact when you care about them and you're not just a number and they're not just coming in so you can bill their insurance.
Sure.
We're actually a family. And a lot of times when the patients come, they say, wow, I feel better already just by coming in, conversing with you all, and I haven't even taken a pill yet,
Yeah.
So that's what's near and dear to our heart. With Village, again, like I said, it takes a village, and it's more so about the patients, more so than, oh, can we accept your insurance?
Yeah. I love that. Tell us a little bit about you. Now, you mentioned you have 7.
I have 7 sons and 9 grandchildren.
Oh my God, are you? Oh my God, are you busy or busy?
Yeah, so it's a lot. Me, I love to cook, so it works. And 6 of them, 5 of them are grown, so we only have 2 left at home. So we're good.
So what's a family gathering look like?
Oh my gosh, a family gathering looks like me preparing to cook the day before. And getting everyone's favorite dishes there, and I have to make everything from scratch. Nothing can be made from box.
But I'll bet you have fun with it.
Oh my gosh, I have so much fun. But my grandchildren, they steal your heart.
If you could tell the people that might watch this video one thing about you, what would you want them to know about you?
If I can make one person feel good about themselves or stop one person from harming themselves or anything like that, that's my purpose. That's my mission. I'm here to serve.
One person in the history of time that you could have dinner with, alive, deceased, anybody. Who is it and why?
Jesus.
Say more.
Jesus, because I want to have I have so many questions. I want to have conversations with him, and I want to just feel his presence, you know? So that's who it would be, Jesus.
You have been fantastic.
Well, you have as well.
Thank you. Good morning, Craig.
Hi, Paul.
Love to find myself in the beautiful city of Fort Collins. It's awesome here today. Craig, I have been fascinated with your journey, and I hope that you'll share a little bit with us this morning. Where did it begin?
Yeah, it started when I was in 7th grade. I got double pneumonia one winter, ended up in the hospital, and in those days they kept you for 10 days. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I had some awesome caregivers. One specifically was a respiratory therapist that would just come and sit in my room while I was getting nebulizer treatments and whatever else. And I said, you know what, that's what I want to be. He was a great guy.
It was in that moment, literally.
It was. And since that time, when I got into high school, I started studying science and math and anatomy and physiology and everything else. And when I got out of high school, I went to junior college and became a respiratory therapist. And then when I was a respiratory therapist, I got exposed to nursing a little bit more, worked with nurses, found out really that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to really have direct patient care, care planning, the whole thing, and went to nursing school at the University of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And then after nursing school, I went to be a neonatal intensive care nurse.
And so all of this was while you were in Minnesota?
Yeah.
But then you found your way to Fort Collins. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was a time of fate. It was a busy day in the NICU, and the phone was ringing, and I picked up the phone, and it was a recruiter looking for someone who had neonatal management experience to come to Fort Collins and work up the street here at Poudre Valley Hospital and help them mature their NICU. But I came out, I loved it here, and moved out here 32 years ago.
And you've been here ever since?
Almost all 32 years.
Yeah. So you worked at the hospital for a bit, and then you joined AFM.
Yeah, I sort of had a journey of, went up and became CNO at Poudre Valley Hospital, worked up and down the Front Range a little bit. I was aware of AFM because a lot of the physicians at that time were working in the hospital. And I also got to know some of the physicians when I worked at the family practice residency for a while. And then this job became open about 3.5 years ago. Yeah.
How's it been?
It's been a fun journey, 3.5 years, with coming in new as a new CEO to the practice, sort of the first non-physician CEO to the practice. And then shortly after that, we went into COVID, and so that was a whole nother journey. And then really during COVID is when we started talking about what's the future of AFM and looking at options for partnership or acquisition.
Talk about that a little.
Yeah, I think that we were looking for a partner that had similar values. AFM has been practicing value-based medicine since about 2012 when they got into the PCMH arena. And when we met you all, we thought match is good.
So Craig, what do you do for fun?
I like to golf, like to fly fish every once in a while. It's an awesome place. Like to work out in my yard, a little bit on the house.
So dinner of your choice, anywhere in the world, anybody that you want, alive or not alive, who you having dinner with?
Oh, wow. I would like to have dinner with my father-in-law who passed away a few years ago, Bob Hunt. He was a great man of faith, very wise, and I don't think I got to spend enough time with him. He was also a world-class fly fisherman, and I wish I would have had more time to go out and fly fish with him and just learn about what he did and how he became so good and just spend some more time with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very own Craig Luzinski.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you for doing this morning.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for listening in today, and I hope you found the conversation enjoyable. Please tell your friends, and remember to listen in the future. Have a great day.